Let's talk about the Electro-Voice ELX200-12P in my quest for the next general purpose rental speaker slash floor monitor. I've got a few reviews that I've done recently, like my Mackie DRM212, a couple of different Yamaha ones where I've been trying to find what I like, and I really like the Yamaha DXR series, but it's just a little too expensive. I've had the Yamaha DXR series in my rental inventory while I've been selling off my DAS Audio Action 12As. And the problem is nobody wants to rent the nicer, newer, more expensive speaker. They all still wanted to rent the DAS Audio speaker. So having a rental speaker in that $40 per speaker rental price range, you know, for a 12-inch is just a little too expensive. So I had to figure out, like, I can't buy $800 speakers to rent out. I need to go down to maybe a $600 speaker to rent out. And I even contemplated just going back and buying the Electro-Voice ZLX series again and just saying, screw it, I'm just gonna have cheap speakers as my baseline, like these, you know, 20 bucks a pop, and then use them for floor monitors. I don't care if a foot goes into the grill or not. Thought about doing that, but then I started to look at this series, which I had actually thought about buying this series a few years back, and I didn't because it had the slanted top, which makes it, you know, impossible to stack in a trailer and then ratchet strap them to the walls unless you're gonna flip the top speaker upside down and flipped around so that the slants match up. But interestingly enough, it wasn't until I got the case for this thing that I realized they actually put two little spacers inside this case on the top, and the top is actually like some sort of hard something in there. So anyways, they make this so that they stack flat when you put the lid on, or when you put the cover on. And as you can see, without the cover, it's got that same slant. But with the cover, no slant. Wish I would have known that, because it probably would have saved me a few $1,000s buying random speakers, because I probably would have bought these a long time ago. But, did I say at the beginning of this video, this is just an initial thoughts video? It is. This is not a full review. All my gigs right now, I'm going out with the RCF Evox 12 because I'm trying to get a bunch of gigs under my belt with those so I can do a full review on that one. I just got these in, I think I got these in maybe a week or two ago, but I just got the cases in yesterday. And you know how I like to talk about cases? And this is perfect point why I talk about cases. You know, this fixes the whole slanted top issue for stacking these. So if you're gonna get a few of these and you want to put them in your garage or something, or trailer pack them like I would normally do, you can actually set one on top of the other with the slipcover because of that hard top. At first when I got it, I was like, why'd they put a hard top in this? Totally makes sense now. The ZLXs do not have that unless they redesigned their cases since I owned them, but I feel like this makes this speaker well worth it. Just to have the ability to stack them on top of each other. Saves space. But anyways, initial thoughts video. We know why I'm buying it, or why I bought it. I'm gonna test it out. I may end up buying two more before I can make a full decision on it, but realistically I was willing to buy the ZLX series and just have that as my main rental speaker again. So going a step up, so far what I'm hearing, like what I feel like is I feel like this speaker feels more solid. I'm not quite sure why, but it's been a while since I've had ZLXs. But just holding it, even though it's the exact same weight, I feel like it seems more solid. I like that it has RCA ins instead of a headphone jack. I just feel more comfortable with these as opposed to, you know, a tiny little headphone jack. I feel like somebody's going to trip on a cord and just, you know, destroy the jack. So I like the back. I was kind of hoping this was going to have the exact same drivers as the EKX series, but just with a plastic cabinet. It does have the same 12-inch driver, not the same compression driver. I'm hoping at high volumes this maintains good clarity. You know, I've tried it out in my basement at fairly high volume, but it's not as good. I don't have a shop anymore, so I can't go out into the parking lot and just crank them up like I used to be able to. COVID. Got rid of my shop, sold my trailer, downsized to a home-based business again, until things get back to normal, I guess. But, so I gotta wait until I go and do a gig to really crank these things up and see what they sound like. But I'm gonna stick with them as long as they're, you know, they get louder than the ZLX. So far, I think they sound better. They feel better. They just feel like a sturdier speaker. I like the cover better, and I like that it's got an RCA jack over just a headphone jack. So overall, is it worth $200 more because you're going from a $399 speaker to a $599 speaker? I think so. I think so far my initial thoughts are I think EV made this a good step up from the ZLX. That's my thoughts so far. I'm going to have another video that I'm going to be coming up with initial thoughts on a subwoofer. I did not buy the matching sub to this series for my rental sub. I actually did go with the EKX sub for my rental sub. Mostly because I had 12-inch Yamahas for rental, and there were certain things I just didn't think they hit quite low enough. I mean, they were probably fine for rental, but I had some people that wanted 18s, some that wanted 15s, and with all the downsizing I've been doing, you know, I've sold like 30% of my gear so far. I'm trying to have a very concise inventory. So I wanted a 15-inch speaker, and in this series, they don't make a 15-inch speaker. They make a 12 and an 18. You know, 12 would be fine for 75% of customers, but then there's that other 25% of customers that would want an 18. And I don't want to have 12s and 18s. I just want to have 15s. One rental sub is what I want to have, and you know, it's just kind of a product of the business, you know, or the industry right now. You know, obviously business went to shit last year and didn't really make any money. Making a little bit more money this year, but you know, nothing's, for at least for me, it's not back to normal. You know, it's treading water kind of income. So I can't, you know, I'm not going to get a shop right away, so I have to think space-wise. What do I have space for? And I don't have space to be doubling up on a bunch of stuff. So, you know, I'm probably going to be getting rid of a lot more of my gear, but settling on this, settling on the 15-inch sub. I will have my own set of gear that I'm going to go out with now that's not in my rental inventory. But beyond that, everything's going to be pretty standardized. But so far, do I recommend this? Yes, but I can't give a full review on it yet. And unfortunately, it's probably going to be a month to maybe 2 months before I can actually give a really good solid thumbs up or thumbs down on this thing. But if you have any questions, you know, throw it down in the comments section. I'll do my best to answer. I just can't give a... So far, I like everything. I just haven't really been able to hear what it sounds like, you know, at a wedding dance or as a floor monitor. You know, so sound quality is one I can't give too good of an opinion on yet, except for what it sounds like in here, which I think it sounds pretty good. Oh, one thing I will say, the ZLX, I tried using that for an acoustic show at one point in time. This was quite a few years ago. And I didn't think... You know, I feel like they're fine for DJing, but when you're mixing sound, I didn't think the ZLX was the best for, like, main speakers for an acoustic show. I just didn't think the compression driver quality just wasn't there. I'm hoping this is a step up in compression driver quality because I would like these to be fine for doing an acoustic show. Now, I realize this isn't going to sound like an EKX or an ETX. You know, it's out of, you know, 4 lines of speakers, it's second to the bottom. So I know it's not going to sound perfect, but I'm hoping that it sounds like a good mid-range speaker. So far it feels like one, it looks like one, Super impressed with the cover. But yeah, I guess that's my thoughts. The one thing I will say I will probably miss, but you know, to be honest, these are not going to be the speakers I go out with. But no dual pole socket, which I wouldn't really expect them to have a dual pole socket at this price point. But I do like a dual pole socket when I go out. But for the most part, it's probably just simpler just to have a single pole, especially since I'm renting these out. So definitely not a deal killer. But I am a pretty big fan when I am out DJing. You know, if I'm trying not to like blow the wedding party away, if they're close to the dance floor or something, a lot of times I will put the speakers up a lot higher on a pole and then have a little bit of the downward tilt to kind of directionally shoot the sound back. Also in bigger gyms, you know, if it's a big gym but maybe not a crazy amount of people to where a lot of people are up front. I do a lot of small school dances. You know, you can do the same thing, put them way up high, shoot them down, and then you don't quite get like the same slap back off the back of the gym just, you know, snapping back at you. You know, it allows the sound to kind of go down, reflect off the floor, the wall, the ceiling, bounce all over the place, hopefully disperse and, you know, maybe get fizzled out by the crowd instead of just back and forth slapping at you. But anyway, so that's maybe my one gripe is the pole socket is not, I like having the dual pole socket so I can do a tilt, but definitely not a deal killer. Anyways, until next time, if you have any questions, throw them down in the comments section. All right, I was just starting to edit that, and I was watching it back, and I thought of two things I forgot to mention. So, let me throw this guy back up here. It was when I was pointing out the pole socket. One thing I'm not a huge fan of. Let's see if you can see this here. I mean, and maybe, no, there's things you can do about it, because, like, my Yamahas don't have this. I'm not a fan of that. And the reason I'm not a fan of it, if you can see it, that's the screw. You put it on your speaker stand, and you screw it tight with this. Now, the thing I'm not a fan of is that's pretty small, right? So there's no plate inside of here that's getting pushed on. So you're just screwing that right into your speaker stand. And it's gonna scrape your paint up, probably put a dent in your speaker stand. And if you use these for rentals, people are gonna tighten this first time out renting it. They're gonna spin it all the way out, let it fall on the floor and lose it. So in general, and the ZLXs are the same way. I usually just take them out. I don't even rent them out with them in it. If I want to use it, I'll put it in maybe, unless I want to destroy my speaker stand. But realistically, I would pull that out. I would buy a sweet K&M pole that has these where you can the heck? Oh, wrong way. Where you can shove this in there, turn that, these push out and tighten onto the speaker. I mean, you know, if you're looking for the best situation. But not a fan of that. And also with the ZLXs that I had, flip this back up, scoot it in. Hopefully you can see these in the video. These screws right here, maybe they've fixed those over the years, but one of my biggest complaints ever with the ZLXs was the way that they did these handles. And these screws, I don't know, maybe Electro-Voice now started to put some Loctite on them, but out of the dozen sets of ZLXs I had, there wasn't a single one that wasn't missing a screw. I had some where I lost all the screws and the handle fell off. I've sold my ZLX to people. I've sold people new ZLXs and they've lost screws. They've had to go to a hardware store and buy new screws. So the screws are an issue. And I will probably wind up taking these out before I, you know, hand them out to somebody. And I'm probably going to put some Loctite on them. Now, I understand why they do the handles this way, because you can buy a wall mounting bracket where you have to take the handles off and then you attach the bracket direct to the speaker. But the issue is, if these are rattling around in the back of your cargo van, the back of your vehicle, year after year after year, chances are these screws are going to come loose. And when you lose them, it's going to be a bummer, because you're probably not going to find the exact same black screw unless you order some from Electro-Voice, which I never did back in the day, but I probably would now. I mean, well, now I'm just going to put some Loctite on them, but that's one of the issues. I don't know if that's, like I said, I don't know if that's going to be an issue with these. One would assume that they've gotten some customer feedback that said, yo, your screws suck ass, I keep losing them. And at some point they would have thought, golly gee, maybe I'll throw some Loctite on them. Let's hope that's the case. But anyways, if you buy these, keep an eye out for that. And, you know, take that stupid screw out of the pole socket. And at least that's what I'd recommend. Because I hate tightening things like that onto my speaker stand. But anyways, last thing I'm adding to this. Have a good rest of the day.